Consumer Math, lesson 11.6, page 335. Proceeds from bonds. So when you buy a bond, you keep it for X number of years, you earn interest on it, you get more money back than you put in, okay, assuming what you sold it for. So here's what's going on. On 1 through 5, you're just going to use the exact same thing we've been doing before. Interest equals PRT, all right? Interest is how much money you get. You put so much money in at a specific rate, and T is in terms of a year, okay? T is in terms of a year. But what they're doing there is they're giving you dates. If you look at problems 1 through 5, they have the accrued interest period from January 1st to February 28th. January 1st to February, whatever, different dates. So rather than you trying to figure out how many days that is, here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you the days. You got to put these in the right problem. Okay, it comes under right here. Days is in terms of 365. So on number 1, it's 58 days. On number 2, it is 19 days. Number 3, it is 45 days. Number 4, it is, 91. Number 5, it's 131. Number 6, going all the way down here, it's 73. In my last book they had a chart where you could look these things up. Otherwise, you got to pull out a calendar and whatever. I'm just going to give them to you. Number 8 is 157. Number 9 is 127. 10 is 40. And 11 is 129. All right, now you got to listen to me just a little bit here, okay? This is very easy to do. They're going to give you a principal. They're going to give you a percent. You change it to a decimal. It's this times this times this. This right here is in terms of days. Okay, so if there's 58 days right here for I'll show you. Number 1, face value is $1,000. That's right here. The interest rate is 12%, 0.12. The days, because I gave you the numbers, it's 58 days. So it's 58 over 365. It's that many days out of a year. Because this is always in terms of a year. Okay? This is technically a thing called Banker's Rule, but they don't tell you anything about that either. So it's 58 out of 365. So it's this times this times this. There's your answer, okay? I hope you get this. The days, problems 1 through 11, those are the days. I'm telling you that's the amount of days. I looked it up in my book. You have to use these numbers. Whatever number there is over 365 is the multiplier, the rate as a decimal, the amount that you start with, okay? So we're going to use this for all of them, but there's other things too. On 6, 7, 8, 9, use your calculator to find the selling price plus the accrued interest. Now, it's the exact same thing plus just a little bit. Use the face value, not the quoted price. Face value, interest rate, and that accrued period. Those are the days. Okay? So on, actually, let's do number 7. So the face value is 1,000. The interest rate is, where's it at? 10.5%. So that's 0.105. That's the half. 10.5, 2 places over, decimal number. You guys were having some trouble with that a while back. The T, I told you for number 7, 32, so it's 32 over 365. You multiply this out, okay? That is the accrued interest if you look down there. This answer is the accrued interest. That's what it is. Now, you have to find the selling price. Okay, so now here's where you go back, face value and quoted price. Face value is $1,000. When you sell this, you could sell it for more than that. That's a premium. You could sell it for that. I forget what that is. Or you could sell it for less, and that's a discounted rate. Forget if it's just the same. The discounted rate, the quoted price, is 87 and a half. Okay, so we're going to do a couple things here. That half is going to be written like this. It's 87, that half is a 5. Okay, so we're selling it for $875. We bought it for $1,000. We're selling it for this. Does that make a little bit of sense? Okay, so when we do that, the selling price is, we're selling it for this much money. But you have to add the accrued interest. So this right here is how much it's worth. It was worth this. It's now worth this. Okay, you have to add the accrued interest. That's how much money we get for it. We get $875 plus whatever interest it earned. Okay? So let's just look at a couple of these. On number 6, face value 1,000, quoted price 100. So those are the same. It's 100% of what it was. So you're going to sell it for what you bought it for. Does that make a bit of sense? You're selling it for, on number 8, you bought it for 1,000, you're selling it for 1,000 plus the interest. You bought it for 1,000, you sell it for 1,000 plus the accrued interest. Okay, on number 8, you bought it for 1,000, you're selling it for more than 1,000, okay? You're selling it for, what is that thing? I'm sorry. 102. 102 is this right here. 102, you add a 0 to it. So you bought it for 1,000, you're selling it for 1,020 plus that. Okay, whatever this number is, you just put a 0 behind it. See, this is 87.5, 1/2. Okay, so what I do is I put a 0 here. Actually, I multiply it by 10 right here. I'm sorry. 87 1/2. I make it into a decimal, 87.5. I multiply it by 10, there's 875. That's what the first one was. The second one is 120, multiplied by 10. That's how much you're selling it for. Number 8, we just did that. 9, face value 1,000, quoted price 95. Add a 0 to it. You're selling it for $950 plus the interest. Okay? So let's look at number 10, 11. Just a little bit different, almost exactly the same. So there's face value, quoted price, interest rate, accrued interest, period. All right, so you're looking for accrued interest and proceeds. Accrued interest and proceeds, okay? So what you got going on here is you do the I equals PRT. So quoted face value is 1,000. Okay, interest rate is 12%. What did I say we were doing? Number 10? 10 is 40 days. 40 over 365. Okay, just like that's going to equal the interest, the accrued interest. It's how much interest you got. Okay, now, for number 10, if the quoted price is 1,000, face value is 1,000, quoted price is 93, that's 93 times 10, that's $930. Bought it for 1,000, we're selling it for $930. Okay, but it also says that the brokerage fee is $10. Brokerage fee is $10. That means you have to pay somebody to sell it. You have to pay them $10. So you're not going to get that $10. Let's just see here. So first of all, we take this plus the accrued interest. That's how much we're getting, but we have to pay a broker $10. So you take your number here and subtract 10, that's the answer. So on 9 and 10, no, I'm sorry, 10 and 11, you do the exact same thing you did in the ones before. You take this times this number, that's the accrued interest. You find out how much it's selling for. You bought it for 1,000. This one is 93, add a 0 to it, you're selling for 930. Add the accrued interest to it. That's how much you're going to get. But you have to pay the guy $10, so subtract that. That's how much you're actually going to get after you pay the broker. And these are the days for the problems, okay? Write them down.